Okay, so I said we were going to talk about social media. And the thing with social media is I started doing social media back in 2006 or 7, so quite a few years. And Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, website, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I could tell it was evolving then, and it was going to have its value. And so I kept working at it, and not long after that, I ended up doing social media for a lot of different companies in Europe and the United States, where I would promote their businesses, travel to trade shows in Europe, trade shows and businesses in the US, and that was, you know, went very well. It was going well, but they didn't see the benefit or the value for the money or whatever it was, and pretty much all of them pretty much stopped doing it. You know, because social media is on a corporate level, it's a really hard one to justify. I spent $5,000. How do I know I made 50? So, I mean, it's much like any other form of advertising, really, because unless you do a direct advertising where you say, okay, today only, come in and say Wichita Falls, and you get 25% off. And there you can get a direct correlation between the advertising you're doing and what you reap. But in social media, you can't. It's not always a clear, defined path. Sometimes it takes a while to build. It always takes a while to build. It's hardly ever instantaneous. But the results can be absolutely phenomenal. I mean, look what, you know, this thing we've done for Eleuthera, it was a marketing campaign. And that marketing campaign has brought in additional, I don't know, a lot more people, millions of dollars that wouldn't have come here. And that was all part of it. But unfortunately, nobody, again, on the business end can see the value of it, so they don't want to pay for it. But does it work? Yes, it does work. As a marketing technique, and I should add, you know, to do it, you can't really sell anything. You're not selling, you know, in all the, and I can't remember how many I've done, but on all the platforms that we use for Eleuthera, it was a relatively easy one. It sold itself. You didn't have to, you know, be putting stuff out there saying, oh, come to Eleuthera, come to Eleuthera, visit Eleuthera. No, you didn't have to do that, because once you showed the place and what it was, that in itself gained enough interest for people, so they wanted to come. I mean, that's, you know, they saw the water, they saw the beaches, they heard what it's like, so they ended up wanting to come on their own. That's a relatively easy sell. A lot of work, but it wasn't a hard one to figure out. Again, who's going to do it after? I don't know. But so in the marketing world, it does have its place. It will evolve again. I'm not sure exactly what, but it will evolve into something else. I know that. Because right now, there's just too much content. It's just overwhelming for any human being to absorb it all in. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to start seeing a more marketed decline in that, because people just, you know, it's like saturation, and they'll stop. They'll try to limit their use. They'll find other things to do. And so companies who are using social media are then going to have to find out, go routes that will attract those people. Because part of this social media thing is that when you're doing it from the marketing end, not the viewer end, from the marketing end, you have to put out a steady, consistent stream of content within context of what people want to see. So if you don't, or it's too hit or miss, or any of that kind of stuff, it doesn't resonate with them, you're wasting your time. You know, if you only do it here and there once in a while, great, but it better be great content and it better be regular. You know, and I've said this to businesses for years. How would you like to turn into the nightly news or whatever show you like to watch or whatever, and it's usually on at 8 o'clock? It's not on tonight. How come? Oh, they're going to do it another night. What night? I don't know. So it has to be a consistency. So these are all positives of, you know, if you're a business, getting your word out as to how you can gain more business. Is it instantaneous? No. It can take a year, 2 years, 3 years to do it. Again, a lot of companies don't want to pay because that's too long out there, but it does work. Now, on the negative side of things, and I see this all the time, is that there's a lot of negativity out there on the part of individuals due to social media, okay? There's a lot of varying aspects that would never have existed if, I mean, they would have existed, but they never would have found an audience. Now, suppose you were some person who, I don't know, felt strongly about something. Well, you, before social media and the internet and all that stuff, you would have felt that way, and you would have had a group of friends that were of similar thinking to you, whatever that thinking was, okay? And you would have talked to them, you had them over for dinner, but that's about as far as that circle would extend, okay? Now maybe if it was a larger group, there was another group someplace else or whatever, and you all had that same thinking. But now with social media, anybody can get out there and just say whatever they want about anything, okay? And what I see is so much negativity out there of this thing or that thing, and you know, it's a lot of times I find that that negativity wouldn't have existed on that broad scale without social media. People wouldn't have been able to say that. So in that same vein, you're now looking at, you know, I hate to say it, but it gives you a perspective into those people. Those people who are out there whining and complaining and having certain views and political rants and whatever their ideology is perfectly fine. But it gives you their true colors of what those people actually are, what their thinking is. I mean, maybe you knew them under other circumstances, and maybe you wouldn't have heard those things, but from what I see, you know, looking around, that negativity is, it just sort of feeds on itself. The politics of the them and us and hatreds, I mean, the views on all kinds of stuff. And I think in a lot of regards, that's going to end up causing some big problems. It is causing big problems. It's great that the information can be out there. People can say what they want. But when now all of a sudden you've got people who are looking at this, and let's say they're not the most stable characters in there, and they see all these other people, and they take it upon themselves to do something. You know, like the person in New Zealand. Maybe he had all those thoughts and everything else, but because of all the information that's out there, he decided to plan and make actions. Maybe he would have anyway. I don't know. But it's one of those things that social media has goods and bads. Is it going to go away? I don't think it's going to go away, but I do think it's going to change. And I think those people or companies that start thinking outside of the box, instead of just having a Facebook platform, Twitter, Instagram, those people who come up with ways, and like I said, I don't really know what they are yet, Haven't given it a whole ton of thought, to be honest. But when those people come up with these ways and these new platforms, then I think you'll find that there's going to be success for them, because those people will be coming specifically to look at their content and information. So that's my 2 cents on social media. Actually, that's probably a lot more than 2 cents, but that's how I look at it.